Alrighty, so welcome everyone to another Bible study of our Revelation series. So we have been going through the 7 letters to the 7 churches. So we covered the first 2 chapters. We looked at how the revelation of Jesus Christ, which was given to Jesus Christ, which was sent through an angel towards John, and how John testified it. And John was asked to write the things that he saw there, the things that are happening now, and then the things thereafter. So we finished the things the vision of the Son of Man that he saw, that we finished. And then we started going through the letters to the 7 churches. We finished with Ephesus, Smyrna, Sardis, Thyatira, Pergamos. All of them were heavy letters, right? So now we have come to this church called Philadelphia. This is actually one of those letters which is a joy to read, a joy to meditate. This is a wonderful letter. But what is interesting is if you ask any church, which is that one church, which church are you? Every church will say, we are the Philadelphia church. So I'm sure we all want to be like the Philadelphia church. So we're going to see what it takes to be a Philadelphia church, right? So before we go into the church, let's go into the city, because there are some mysteries and secrets in it. Once you understand what the city went through, you kind of understand why how the Spirit of God moved through certain ways, and why He's speaking specific terminologies in it. I think you'll understand it better once we know a little bit of the history of this very interesting city. So the city's name is Philadelphia. It is known as the faithful church. So the Church of Philadelphia is known as the faithful church. The name Phile means friendship or affection, and Delphos means city. So it's a city of friendship, a city of somebody says brotherly love. And yes, brotherly love, God emphasizes brotherly love for the church, right? It's so important to have brotherly love. But this one is a city of friendship. Today the city is known as Allah Sehu, the city of God, or Allah Shahir, which is known as a red city, or a city with multiple colors. Now, there's a very interesting story which happened in that place, for the reason for which this name came. Okay, so there was this king called King Eumenes II. He was the king of Pergamos, and King Pergamos acquired this land, the one which we presently call as Philadelphia. They acquired that land. So this land was under King of Pergamos, King Eumenes II. So King Eumenes II had a brother Attalus II. They were so close, and Attalus really loved his brother king so much. The king gave him a name, a cognomen called Philadelphus, means the one who loves his brother. And that city was named after him. So it means the city of the one who loves his brother. So if they have coins from that time, and the coins depict 2 brothers who look very identical, same height, same size, same image, everything. And Attalus took over from Eumenes as well. He was the heir in line. So King Eumenes, so that's how this name came from. So it means it was dedicated to Attalus. It means the city of one who loves his brother. And this Attalus, they loved his brother so much. And that is the reason why the name Philadelphia came through. There are many cities who have later on have named themselves Philadelphia, like the one in US. But I don't think so they have a story like this. So this one, the root of it, and we understand now the story, it's a city of the one who loves his brother. So a brotherly love city. It was located in a very strategic place, because it was the main route of the imperial post from Rome to the entire east. So the main route was started from here. So because it was the route of the imperial post, it was a fantastic location in terms of, it was known as the gateway to the east. So it was, for the church to be there, it means it was a great advantage, a missionary advantage, because you can reach out to the people because of this location. Even the Romans, they used this location to educate other cities and other people regarding their culture, regarding their language, regarding everything what it means to be a Roman. So this place was a missionary post in every sense. It's a very strategic post. So the church benefited massively from that as well because of its location. But there was a real issue with the location again. This thing was in a geological plate area. So there was a lot of volcanic activity there, and it was an earthquake prone area like the one in New Zealand. Earthquakes are very frequent, and as it's written 17 BC, I think it was 1780. In 1780, a severe earthquake destroyed the city. This is 1780. I've written wrong. So 1780, a severe earthquake destroyed not just Philadelphia, 10 cities, including Sardis. So when we took the letter to the church of Sardis, I told you about this earthquake which destroyed Sardis. It's the same earthquake. So the people, because of this earthquake, it was reported that after tremors went on for years. So people left the city because of their fear of the earthquake, and they started living in the nearby countryside. So they actually lost faith in the city because of the constant and massive earthquake that used to happen in that area. So there was a lack of stability when it comes to that location per se, but otherwise it was a phenomenal location. The name, this city has undergone a lot of name change. So after the earthquake, it was heavily devastated, right? So Tiberius helped them to bring it back to life. So Tiberius sent a lot of help, and because of that, they renamed the city Neo Caesarea, the new city of Caesar. So Neo Caesarea. From there, the next Roman general came in, and he renamed it Flavia. Now Flavia is his family name, so he renamed this city for his family name, according to his family name. So it's Flavia. Then slowly, after many years, the name Philadelphia again came back, and then it got changed. Once the Ottoman Empire took over, it was kind of the end for Philadelphia, and then the name changed again. So the name of the city was changed multiple times. They faced a severe persecution from the Jewish community. So the Jewish community gave them a very, very hard time. But later on, the bishop of Antiochus writes a letter in which he says the very people who persecuted them after many years converted into Christianity and started worshiping with them. So this city and this church went through a lot of persecution. So from the Jews mainly, not necessarily from the Romans. So this is a very interesting thing about Philadelphia. Now let's go to the letter. So the letter to the church of Philadelphia. Let's go to it. Revelation chapter 3, verses 7 to 13. And to the angel of the church in Philadelphia write, these things saith he that is holy, he that is true, he that hath the key of David, he that openeth and no man shutteth, and shutteth and no man openeth. So this was the title. So what is the title which Jesus Christ took for himself? The one who is holy, the one who is true. This is one of the same names which is used by the martyrs. Remember the martyrs, who was the ones who were beheaded for the gospel and for the name of Christ. Their souls started crying out under the altar, and the way they address God is the one, he that is holy, he that is true. So why it is important? Because he is holy, he is going to judge sin, and because he is true, he is going to vindicate every child of God who is going to be slain wickedly or by the wicked. So he's going to do both. So that is why they are calling this name, and he takes upon this name for this church, he that is holy, he that is true. But there is another very, very interesting title that he uses. He says, he that hath the key of David. So that means he's saying, I have the key. I am the one who has the key of David. He opens. So whatever he opens, no man can shut. And whatever he shut, no man can open. But what was interesting for me is he actually took the name of a man whom he loved and named the key after him. Why would God do that? He could have said the key of the Almighty. He could have put any term. There are so many names of God there, yet he gives the name, the key of David. David didn't have this key. God gave him this key, and we will soon understand why it is. It is the key, it's a spiritual key as well, because why? Whatever he opens, it stays open. And whatever he shuts, it stays shut. Let's see. Probably we can go into the story straight away. Okay, let's go. Usually I go to the next, but let's go read. So this key of David reference comes from Isaiah chapter 22, verse 20 to 25. Okay, this is where the reference comes from. Now this is the time of the king of Hezekiah, and Hezekiah had a servant called Shebna. Now this Shebna he had this administrative role, and he had a power position, but he used it. He was a wicked man, and he used it for his own personal benefit. Okay, and because he used it for the personal benefit, and he actually was blocking the people, God decides to uproot him and bring another faithful person called Eliakim. Right, so let's read that. So Shebna, this wicked man who is given this important role in Hezekiah, the king Hezekiah's kingdom, is uprooted, taken off, and now another man is given this job. So verse 20 onwards. In that day I will call my servant Eliakim, the son of Hilkiah, and I will clothe him with your robe. Whose robe? Shebna's. And will bind your sash on him, and commit your authority to his hand. And he shall be a father to the inhabitants of Jerusalem and to the house of Judah. And I will place on his shoulder the key of the house of David. He shall open and none shall shut, and he shall shut and none shall open. So what he had is, he had a long, a big round ring, and on the round ring there was a heavy key. So when he has that key on his shoulder, that means he has the absolute authority to decide who can see the king and who cannot see the king. If he says no, it's a no. And if he says yes, it's a yes. So if you want an audience with the king, he has to agree. So that was the administrative role, and they probably had other administrative role as well. And I will place on his shoulder the key of the house of David. He shall open and none shall shut, and he shall shut and none shall open. And I will fasten him like a peg in a secure place, and he will become a throne of honor to his father's house. And they will hang on him the whole honor of his father's house, the offspring and issue, every small vessel, from the cups to all the flagons. In that day, declares the Lord of hosts, the peg that was fastened in a secure place will give away, and it will be cut down and fall, and the load that was on it will be cut off, for the Lord has spoken. Now, yes, is it speaking about Eliakim the son? Yes, but then the language changes to prophetical. So the word the peg, or another word nail, is a reference to Jesus Christ. So this peg is Jesus Christ. Another name of Jesus Christ is the nail. So it's not just about Eliakim. So Eliakim is a type. It's a type of Christ in this. So because why? Jesus Christ is who has the key of David? Is Jesus Christ, and he is the nail upon which everything was fastened, and then upon his death it was cut off, right? That's so the language changes from verse 23 onwards. So now you know it's not just about Eliakim, it's about Jesus Christ as well. So now the key is in the hands of Jesus Christ, and whatever he opens remains open, and whatever he shuts remains shut. Okay, so let's go to another key, right? So since we are in the topic of keys, I think this will interest you. Let's go to Matthew chapter 16, verse 15 to 20. And he said to them, but who do you say that I am? So Jesus Christ is asking this to his disciples, okay? He said to them, he's asking the disciples, but who do you say that I am? Simon Peter replied, you are Christ, the Son of the living God. And Jesus answered him, blessed are you, Simon Bar-Jonah, for flesh and blood has not revealed this to you, but my Father who is in heaven. And I tell you, you are Peter. means you are the rock. And on this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. I will give you the keys of the kingdom of heaven, and whatever you bind on earth shall be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven. Then he strictly charged the disciples to tell no one that he was the Christ. So now here the story is very simple. He says he's giving the keys of the kingdom of heaven to Peter. So there are a lot of people who say that is from where every priest comes in the lineage of Peter, and the keys were given only to Peter. I would say it was not just given to Peter. Okay, and I'll tell you why. Though was he used to build the church? Absolutely. But was the keys of the kingdom of heaven given only to Peter and only to the lineage of Peter? No. Why? Because this is Matthew chapter 16, right? Matthew chapter 18 to 18. He's telling to all the disciples. So what was the power that was given to him? What were the keys? What can he do with the keys? Whatever he binds on earth shall be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven. So again, there's quite a couple of people who says, listen, so that what that means is, if I bind something in earth, the same will happen in heaven. And if I loosen something in earth, will it loosen in heaven? I would say it's the other way around, brother. Whatever is loosened in heaven is only the things you can loosen on earth. And whatever bind there is, when you bind here, it happens. It's not the other way around. The kingdom of heaven doesn't follow the things of this earth. But you understand that when you understand what is bound in heaven, that means you have now the power to bind it here. And when you know something is loosened in heaven, you know it can be done on earth, because now the authority is given to you. It's not the other way around. The kingdom of heaven doesn't listen to you, rather you listen to the kingdom of heaven. So I hope that makes it clear. So but what is the power given to this key? You bind on earth and shall be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven. Okay, and this is what many claim, that only Peter had it, and that is how the church was built on, and every church has to follow Peter, and Peter is the bishop, the ultimate bishop, and all that. The first pope, basically Peter is the first pope, and every other pope comes after that. Let's look at it. Matthew chapter 18 verse 18. So this is 2 chapters later. He's speaking to all his disciples here. Truly I say to you, whatever you bind on earth shall be bound in heaven. Oh wait, isn't this the same thing that he gave to Peter earlier and only to Peter? Now he's giving it to all his disciples. Whatever you bind on earth shall be bound in heaven, and whatever you loosen on earth shall be loosed in. That means we too will have this authority in him. So it's not just for Peter. So this keys of the kingdom of heaven, what are you doing with it? Now, another question I think we need to think is, so I think most of the believers are knocking at the wrong door. There are doors which God has opened for us. I think we are not ready to find it, or we are not careful to find it. We don't spend time to find it. We go after the doors that we want, which God has actually closed it. And we start banging on that door so much, and we get frustrated and we get depressed, and then we go into different emotions. And God said, that's not the door for you. Probably that door means the destruction for us. But here, God says, I have opened a door for you. That means if he has opened a door for you, nobody can shut it. That means it could be a door for your family. It could be a door for your business. It could be a door for whatever you're going through. If you find that door, what's comforting is no man can shut it. It remains open for you. Now, in the New Testament times, this open door means a door for doing evangelism or missionary work. But I think it doesn't just stop there. We need to find, as a church, as a ministry, as an individual, what are the doors God, my Father, has kept open for me. Because those doors are if we find those doors, it is much easier, because it is already kept for you, and he is kept specifically for you, right? And nobody can shut it. Imagine you're going and trying to open a door which is shut, and you get each time you get depressed. But here we have a God who says, listen, I am the one who has the keys of David. Whatever I open remains open. That means, isn't it better to ask the one who has the key himself, which doors he has kept open for us. Instead of we going around and experiencing heartbreak and frustration and negative emotion, if we go back to him, if we spend time with him and ask him, Lord, what is this door for me that you have kept open? I'm very sure he will tell you, but we need to spend time with him. Okay, so that's about the title. He that had the key of David, he that openeth and no man shutteth, and shutteth and no man openeth. That's the title that he chooses. I know thy works, verse 8. So just like every other letter, God starts this, Jesus Christ starts this letter the same way. I know thy works. Behold, I have set before thee an open door. See that? He is saying, and there's a reason. There's a reason why he's saying that. I have set before thee an open door, and no man can shut it. For thou hast a little strength, and hast kept my word, and hast not denied my name. So he's saying, for Church of Philadelphia, you have very little strength. That means it was not a very strong church. It was not a massive church. It was barely hanging on there by their own standards. They probably might be a very, very small group. And God said, it has very less funding. They were heavily persecuted by the Jews, but they took every opportunity to obey God. So he says, I know thy works. And I know you have very little strength, but don't worry. I have kept this door open for you. Why? Because I know you are weak. I know you have little strength. You're going to walk through this door and nobody going to stop it. I am the one who's keeping it open. Nobody can stop this. The doors of evangelism, the doors of missionary, the doors of opportunities for this church, God says nobody's going to take it away. You don't have to worry about your lack of strength. You don't have to worry about your lack of funding. You don't have to worry that your church is small. You have to worry about one thing. Have we kept his word? Because that is what is said. Thou hast kept my word and hast not denied my name. So for us as a church, that's the thing that we need to latch on. Are we keeping his word? God considered that more important than anything else. Thou hast kept my word and hast not denied my name. That means they would have gone through persecution and they said, they would have given a chance to deny his name. They probably would have better lives. And maybe one of the reasons why they had little strength is probably everything was cut off from them. And the persecution was relentless. So that's probably why they have very little strength. But God says, don't worry, I saw that. I saw that. Behold, I will make them, this is verse 9, behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews and are not, but do lie. So they claim themselves to be Jews, but God said they are not Jews, they are actually synagogue of Satan. So it is not the Jews opposing them. Through the Jews, who was opposing them? Satan. So not all Jews are Jews. That's what this says. They say they are Jews, but they are not, and they are lying. And what is he promising? He makes a promise. I will make them to come and worship before thy feet, and to know that I have loved thee. What a verse! I think for the people of Philadelphia, this would have been immense. They went through such persecution. And they did everything right. And God said, you know what? I'm going to take care of your enemies. Not only are they going to come before you, they're going to fall down and worship thy feet. I really don't know what that means. Probably they are standing with the King of Kings. And that's why when they bow down to the King of Kings, God says, no, to these guys as well. They represent me correctly. They're ambassadors of Christ. So they worship before thy feet and to know. So what is important for God? I have loved you. This church I want to be seated in such a church, right? When this letter comes, imagine the leader, the elder of the church. Imagine the members of the church. I'm very sure tears will be rolling through their eyes when they hear the word, to know that I have loved thee. I think that is the best, more than anything else. When you hear that statement, I have loved you. And I'm going to show it to you. It's not just in words. Your enemies are going to come down and bow down before you. That's what they're going to do. Why? Because thou hast kept the word of my patience. That means they endured. That means they were faithful, right? If you're faithful in something, how does one know you're faithful unless somebody tests you? If nobody tests you, how do you know it's faithful? So they have been tested. That is why God says, you have kept it. I saw it. I saw you going through the test, and I know your works. You kept the word of my patience. That means silently, or they endured it and they kept his word. So what is God, this one church which did everything right, what is the second time repeating? Kept my word. So what is the big takeaway for us? Keep his word. So he's not bothered about the big massive halls. He's not worried about mega churches. He's not worried. So the size doesn't matter. I'm not saying all mega churches are bad. What God is saying, the size doesn't matter. But what matters to me, or what matters to God, that's what he's saying, is that you keep my word and you endure in it. That means it is not that you are passionate for him for a season and then you forget about it. Then you read, later some of us, we read the word of God for a month and then we lose track of it. Then 2 months later again, we kind of reignite our passion. We go and again we lose track. I said, no. This church went on doing it. Every opportunity that came their way, they kept his word and the word of his patience. They patiently did it. I will also keep these. It doesn't stop there, okay? So I will also keep thee from the hour of temptation which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. This is very interesting because it might look like it is something local. It is not local. Why I said it's not local? Because it says the hour of temptation. This is probably referring to the trouble of Jacob. Why? The trouble of Jacob is not a local issue. It is going to happen to everyone living on earth, and that is what he's saying, which shall come upon all the world. So it is not a local thing. Probably it also meant for them as a church for the Roman persecution. But what he's mentioning is there is an event that is going to come and that is going to affect everyone on earth. So they're called earth dwellers. So anyone on earth, dwelling on earth, will go through this. Probably that is why people are trying to go to Mars. Okay, this is the only letter with a promise of keeping them out of the time of the Great Tribulation. Come to think about it. So it says all those who dwell on earth. So people who are probably living in Mars don't go through it. So I think somebody put 2 and 2 together and says, there's no way I can, there's no guarantee in earth I'm going to go to Mars. I think it's worth a try. Let's see. I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation to try them that dwell on the earth. Well, this is the only letter with the promise of keeping them out of the Great Tribulation. Now, this is one of those passages which the Bible scholars think that the church will be taken before the tribulation starts. This is one of those verses which the Bible scholars take it very seriously, and they think, yes, this is a promise to the church that the church will not go through the Great Tribulation. Now, another interesting fact is, nowhere in the Bible it is said to prepare for the Great Tribulation. I know a lot of people want to study the Great Tribulation, they want to understand the Great Tribulation, perfect. But nowhere in the Bible it says to prepare for the Great Tribulation. Everywhere it says to prepare for the second coming of Christ, for the coming of Christ. If we miss that, if we learn everything about the Great Tribulation and we did not prepare ourselves for the coming of Christ, it's going to be a very rude awakening. Because we might be in that tribulation. And every believer who is going to be in that tribulation, somehow who has found themselves in the tribulation, will have to give up their life if they want to go up to heaven, because it's coming after every believer. So that is why Most of the scholars, and most of the scholars, they agree that this verse is a promise to the church now and the ahead of us, that the church will be taken before the Great Tribulation. It doesn't stop there. He says, okay, so 1, your enemies is going to come and bow down before you. 2, you will not go through the hour of temptation or the Great Tribulation. I'm going to take you off from there. 3, he says. And then another verse 11, behold, I come quickly. It doesn't mean, it's not like Christ gives you a 1 week notice and then he says, no, when it comes, you hear a sound and then he's there and then they're gone. Poof. That's why he says, I'm going to come quickly. So, behold, I come quickly, and hold fast thou which thou hast, that no man take thy crown. So, what is interesting here, doesn't that mean that they already have the crown? If you don't have the crown, why should they hold fast to it? That means this church already had the crown. Wow. He already gave the crown to him. I think what it means is, each church and each individual, they are given certain things sometimes beforehand. And if you don't hold fast to it, and if you don't realize it and hold fast to it, you're going to lose it. For example, there are many examples in the Bible of people who have lost it. Do you remember any one of them? One was Esau. Esau lost it to Jacob. Among the 12 sons of Jacob, Reuben lost it to Judah. Reuben was the firstborn, but authority went to Judah. Who else? King Saul. King Saul was supposed to be the first king, and his lineage should have continued, but it went to David. And the list continues. It happens over and over again. That means, just like we read about the key of David, who had the authority? Absolute. See, the key means absolute administrative authority. They are the final word on it. And it was Shebna was upstaged by whom? Eliakim. Because why? He was a faithful. So that means the positions that God give you, the talents that God give you, take care of it. Use it for the benefit of the church. Use it for the benefit of the people. If we use that, the talents, the gifts which God has given you, the position that God has given you in His kingdom, if we use it for personal gain, then you are going to be upstaged by somebody who is faithful. Right? And that has happened over and over again. Okay. So what is the key thing of this church? They were a faithful church. Did they make it? So what was the secret? Not a secret. What did they kept doing? They were very careful in keeping the word of God and patiently enduring and obeying it. Probably they used every opportunity that came that way, and they didn't lose hope. They kept at it. All right. Behold, I come quickly. Hold that fast which thou hast, that no man take thy crown. So this crown is up for grabs, because why? He says, him that overcometh will I make a pillar in the temple of my God, and he shall go no more out. And I will write upon him the name of my God, and the name of the city of my God, which is New Jerusalem, which cometh down out of heaven from my God, and I will write upon him my new name. Wow. Now, I think it's very significant for this church, because this church, remember, had no stability. Right? They feared to be in that city. So to be a pillar means it's a place of honor. And when you say, he shall go no more out, most of the people think it's negative. Is it like a jail? That I don't have to go out? No. If you are in an earthquake zone, you know every time there's a tremor, you are running out with everything precious in your hands. You're running out of the house. He's saying there is nothing in this kingdom which will make you run. You will be at peace. You will be at rest. Everything that you looked for and you wanted for, you will find it. Moreover, you will be like a pillar. It's not a pillar of stone. And he says, wait. And you are going to be given 3 names. 1, I will write upon him the name of my God. Then the name of the city of my God. Then he says, I will write upon him my new name. Did you see something interesting? I will write upon him the name of my God. This is one of the only other place where Christ says to the Father, my God. The other place was on the cross. My God, why hast thou forsaken me? Everywhere else he calls him Father. But for some reason, he uses the word, the name of my God. He says, I will write upon you. Now imagine you having these 3 names and walking through that city. Everybody will know you are somebody of supreme importance for God. Everybody will know that God loves you. And who will dare to go against whom God loves? I think people will just make way when they see this. Like in the police force, there are different stars for their superiority and the position that they hold, right? I think 3 names. One name itself is massive. He says 3 names. Not one. It's not just one. I will make a pillar in the temple of my God. You guys will stand there, will supervise everything. You guys will check over everything. People will have to go through you. That's what he says. Because in the temple of God, where is the pillar? Right before you enter into the holy place. That's where the temple is. That means these guys are watching over and supervising over everything that's happening there. And probably they decide who goes in and who goes out. So what's the authority? Everybody just have to look at them and they'll see the 3 names and said, no questions asked. I will write upon him the name of my God, the name of the city of my God, and then my new name. Wow. So no wonder this everybody wants to be this church, and it's rightfully so. And why it is so exciting to us? Because of the next verse. He that hath an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says unto the churches. And he says, him that overcometh, right? That means you and I have a chance for this. You and I have a chance to be that pillar in the temple of my God. Are you faithful to that? You and I have a chance to have his name written on us. Will it be a tattoo? I do not know. The name of the city of my God. And then comes the name of our God himself. Wow. Are we faithful today, church? So which is the way? How do we get it, right? That's the question. How do we get it? How did Philadelphia get it? 1, they kept the word of his patience. So God says, I don't care how big your church is. This is what you got to do. If you do this faithfully, you're going to get this. You may have very little strength. Don't worry. This door is open for you. No principalities, no rulers, no powers. Nobody can upstage you if you are faithful. Which one would you choose? Fame, popularity, wealth, riches, or faithfulness? Which one will you choose? I'm going to ask you again. Fame, riches, wealth, or faithfulness? If God gives all of it together, fantastic. But which one would you choose if you had to choose? One says you have all the money, you have all the fame, you have all the glory. Until you live on this earth, this is what you're gonna get. On the other hand, he says if you are faithful, you need to be faithful. If you are faithful, that means you go through persecution. That means you have to keep the word. That means you're not going to be popular. For sure you're not popular. I was just seeing a very interesting episode of this satirical YouTube channel on the Promised Land. It's on Moses and the Exodus. So Moses sees that Aaron is very, very popular because he is. It's imagination, okay? It's imagination of the director. So it's not directly taken from the Bible, but you get a gist of what could have happened there. It's very interesting, very, very creative. So Aaron is this guy who talks to everyone, who's everybody's buddy, and Moses is just looking at it and he's trying to be like Aaron, okay? So Aaron cracks a joke and everybody is laughing. And then Moses comes and cracks a joke and nobody is laughing. And everybody thinks it's inappropriate, and Moses doesn't know what to do. It's very interesting. And then it's actually his wife who's in that series. Okay, the wife is saying, "Listen, don't try to be like Aaron. You're Moses. Don't try. No." But we always like being popular. That's if you want to be popular in college, you want to be popular wherever you are. But I think there's a price. There is a price. Because if you hold on to the truth, you won't be popular among everyone. You will be popular among people who love the truth. If you're faithful, I think more people will look at it, but it takes time, isn't it? If you want to win the hearts of men, probably you're not in Philadelphia. If you want to win the heart of God, yeah, you are in Philadelphia. Because why? You want to get that tagline, that name. What is it? To know that I have loved thee. Whenever I read that, wow, that's intense. To know that I have loved thee. And he's not saying it in secret. He wants everyone to know this is the guy whom I loved. How do everybody know? And the rest of the guys who persecuted them fall at their feet and say sorry. So, God, he's really awesome, right? So today, what keys you have in your hands today? What have you got to learn from this church of Philadelphia? What is your takeaway? I would say if you are struggling with life, you're struggling with certain things, find this door. There is a door that is kept for you. An opportunity that is kept for you. A place that is kept for you. He is the rock of refuge. He has the keys. Go to him. Meditate on him. Take that keys. That means it's easy for you, even if you have no strength. Don't worry about your lack of strength, your lack of skills. Go to the source. This race and in this life, you have to endure. You have to be patiently enduring and keep his word. That is going to be number one. That's why I always say, without the word of God, we are not going anywhere. We may have a lot of activities. Which church had a lot of activities? Do you remember? And I had zero doctrine. A doctrine went horribly wrong. It was Thyatira. They had a lot of activities. A lot of charity, I would say. A lot of institutions helping people, but the doctrine's gone wrong. And there's another church which is heavy on doctrines and very low on works. That was Ephesus. Ephesus was super strong on doctrine because they were raised by 3 giants, right? So understandably they're very strong in doctrine, but they were a little low in devotion in terms of the love. So I think this church, it is not just a brotherly love, and I think what people misunderstand is it is quite easy to love brothers, to love people who are in the same group. It is more difficult to love people outside the church. I think Philadelphia did it. Philadelphia's the love for Christ spilled over to that city, spilled over to every person that probably met them. So it is not just they were affectionate to one another, they loved one another, but that is not just what the Bible says. Our love, we love our church members, we love each other, great. But we tend to be comfortable there. No, God says, no, this love has to now flow into the community, flow into the world, flow into the people around you, and whoever comes to see you, they need to know that there is the love of Christ in you. So I think that's another area where Philadelphia, the Church of Philadelphia, really scored well. Another one, I think, did you see the opportunities here in this letter? Aren't you excited? 1, you get to be a pillar. 2, you got 3 names. 1, your enemies come and bow down before you. Wow, this letter gives me a lot of joy compared to other churches, which gives you a stomach upset just thinking about it. Gives you anxiety, like, oh my God, Sardis, dead. Thyatira, corrupted church. Pergamos, what's Pergamos? The compromising church. And we see shades of us in all those churches, right? So, but this church, I think this is the church we need to aim, guys. This is the church we need to aim. And what is interesting is the only 2 cities which actually remain is Smyrna and Philadelphia. Rest all are in ruins. Interesting, isn't it? So the Smyrna, the 2 churches of which God didn't say of any concern. Did you see any concern here? No concern. So in the 7 design elements, 1, who is it addressed to? Philadelphia, 1. What is the title? We know the title is the one who is true and holy and who has the key of David. Okay. Then we see the commendation, yes. We see the exhortation, yes. We see the promise to the overcomer, yes. And we see the final signature which God puts, he that hath an ear, let him hear what the Spirit saith to the churches. We have that. But no concerns for the church, no judgment for this church, because there's no concerns. The only other church which doesn't have it, Smyrna. Both cities still remain. The church is not there, but the cities remain. Wow. The rest of the cities are not even there. That's very interesting, isn't it? So this church founded on the brotherly love. How are we faring, guys? What's our takeaway? Once again, keep his word and keep the word of his patience. Look for every opportunity which comes your way for you to speak about Christ, to speak about the love of Christ, to show the love of Christ. Yes, you might go through persecution. Satan himself might come and oppose you. But God says, don't worry, that door, it's open for you. So we have come to the 6th church. Now there's only one more church remaining. Which is that? Laodicea. So there's a lot of things happening in Laodicea. Probably if we have time, we will try to see one more final comparison with all the 7 churches together, and then probably we'll take a break, and then we'll go to the things which God said to John to write, the things that is going to happen thereafter. So the things that is happening right now, and so 3 things is, so we covered the 2, or we are covering the 2, and then we're going to cover to the 3rd one, God willingly. So this city, what does it do? How do you guys feel? I feel very upbeat about this. This is super. It's so great teaching about Philadelphia, right? So what are the opportunities that are coming our way? Find the door for your life. Find the door for your problem. It's right there, but we need to go to him. If you don't keep his word, don't expect anything else to happen. We have every chances of falling away. Now, I was looking at the crown, and then I suddenly came across this video in which they showed the actual crown that was put on top of Jesus Christ, on the head of Jesus Christ. Most of the people think it's like a headband. No, it is like a proper helmet, like a crown. And that thorns, that is a naturally grown one over there, it's like so strong like a nail. It would have pierced through the head of Christ. And he would have been drenched in blood. His face, nobody could even see his face, I'm very sure. That's the crown he decided to take. And this is the crown that he is setting before us. That's amazing, yeah? The key of David. He chose to name it after somebody he loved. That's phenomenal. So, guys, go back to this. Spend time on meditating. Why? There is a 3 promise in this. What is the promise of the book of Revelation? Blessed is the one who reads, blessed is the one who hears, and blessed is the one who acts on it or does it. The words of this prophecy. So keep at it. Keep at that blessing. I know the book of Revelation will also open up many other things. The spiritual realm will rile up. Be careful. Be careful. Go back to this. Go back to the city of God. Go back to the kingdom of God and see what God is telling. Because our blessings are just there, right? So God bless you guys. Read before the next session. Read the chapter of which writes about the book of Laodicea, the letter of Laodicea, and we'll continue from there.